Yeah, so here we are. It's Friday again. Still no door there, but that'll get there eventually. So this week was a whole week of this quarter panel here, from the inside to the outside. So I finally got all of the inside put back together, and then I've got this that welded on, but I haven't got any farther than that. That's got to be put on. So then next week I might get a little bit of work done on some mechanical stuff after I finish doing this fender up. So everything fit back together pretty nice, and it's, well, anyhow, you can see it all if you stick around a little while. So then, today was kind of a slow day. I had a bunch of going to town because tomorrow, well, Sunday, what day is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Saturday. Sunday, I'm going to take a drive over to Cape Breton and pick up a little jewel that I found over there. I'll show you pictures of it next week when I get there, if I get there in one piece and back. Had to borrow a truck from a friend, and I've got my old trailer out there, getting it all sort of set up. I'll figure out the lights and everything with the well, there, Barney's ready to go for a trip, eh? So that's my old car hauler trailer. So I haven't used it for a couple of years, but it should be okay. And look at that, all of the animals are here to let me know that they care about me. That's Tony, that's Bandit, and that's Barney over there. Anyway, we'll get back on this again next week and carry on, and hope I see you then, and I hope you enjoy it all. So, all for this week. Bye for now. Yeah, try and get the light bulb up out of the way. There we go. There, take two. So, anyhow, I built a piece to go in this hole here, and then I built a little piece to go across here that makes that, finishes that up down to as far as the fender goes. Like, the fender was rusted out, the outer fender was rusted out from here down, so I just cut it off there and have to put a new piece down below onto the fender after I get it mounted. But we'll mount it first and make sure that everything works all right before anything else. Before that, I have to fix up these little holes here, the little hole there and a little hole there. I think I don't know what I'll do about that yet. Think about that for another minute or two. But first, I got to get back inside here and finish up this bit here, which is the outer fender, or the, what do you call that? Inner fender tub sort of business, the last of that. Then that inner fender is all put back together, and I can go back to maybe doing a little bit of mechanical work or something. Yeah, there now, that's all welded up in there and complete. Now I still have to finish up this stuff out here, but I'll wait till I have the fender on there before I do any more work in this area, make sure I get the right contour going on. I think I got it pretty close to right, so I'll fix up those two holes up there. And that third hole, that's part of the structure, that's the way it came. Yeah, that's it for today. That I did patch those two holes up there. Just put a square patch over a round hole, I guess, and then I think I'll patch it on the inside later, but right now there's too much stuff in the way for working on the inside. Now I'm going to go and clean up. I started cleaning up that. I'll clean up the rest of this thing here, and might need some repair work along this whole thing here. It's not that strong. I might just put another layer of metal down on top of it. Well, just see what happens here, just to shore it up a bit, because the fender's not too strong and this thing's not too strong, so that'll make double not too strong. Anyway, that's all for today. Another day in the shop. I'll start shutting off the lights and stuff, and that'll be, see you tomorrow. Okay, here I am, back at it. So now, I was wondering what to do today. I think what I'll do is I'll get this fender back on here, and then after that I'll finish up the inside of the, down here, finish up this inside stuff, so then I can start working on mechanical stuff without having to worry about pounding my head when I'm doing that later. So, first thing to do now is clean up all this along here. Where am I going? Like all this got to be cleaned up. I've got a grinder stone on there. And a little bit of a lip here, and then there'll be a few places where I need to do some extra welding here before I lay down a new piece, just to make it solid, because it feels not bad. But we'll get it figured out. Yeah, so there now I was cleaning up on this thing. I wonder. There, can you see it any better now? Anyhow, I was cleaning up on this fender. It used to be green, if you remember. And I found a bunch of, right in here, I found some body putty. So I chipped away, and it was about 1/8 of an inch of body putty on there, so I figured I'd just clean it all off. So there now, it's all off except in that little area there, but I'll get to that with a smaller sander later. And then I'll go over it with a sander. But there's this little, the reason for the first body putty was here, little hole there, and I'll fix that up. And then down here, that can come on later. But there was body putty all the way around here, and there's no, I can't see any reason for it. There's no dents or anything. And everything is good. So a little bit here, a little bit there. So I'll clean that up and just see if there's any real problems there. But you don't have to use that much body putty, I don't think. Anyhow, there you go. And then they had put a coat of black, heavy black primer onto it to cover up that green. So I guess, well, there's no more green left, no more red. Heavy black primer was on there to cover up the red, which is that vermilion red color there from the factory. This fender came off of a wrecked car, I presume, and it came off the same car as the driver's side door. So I'll have to take some close attention to the driver's side door and just see what's going on with that one too. Anyhow, it'll all be green when I'm done. Yeah, there now, along here I was able to get a plug here all right, and a plug here all right. But this part here is bad, so maybe I'll just cut out that little chunk right there, put a new one in. Cut out that little chunk right there and put a new one in. Perhaps right here too. I'll try welding that up again. See what happens. And I have to put a new piece in here. Whoops, in here. This piece here is what I took out. Not much to it left. And over on this. So I was able to, there was a couple of little pinholes in here, and I put a plug in. And there again I put a plug in. And then I straightened out a few other things that were low spots. So this thing here is looking better now. I think we'll be okay with it. Yeah, that's all for today. Sunday afternoon, so I gotta stop and go make dinner now. Anyhow, there you go. See you tomorrow. Here we are, take 3. Now, I went and threw away my little prop, but you know, should never be surprised when you start peeling stuff away and you find a hole here and a hole there. Like I saw that bit of Bondo here, and I said to myself, that's a strange place to have Bondo, because there's none here and there's none over there at that side anywhere. This is the tower that holds on the strut and everything, and then this is just the inner fender. But there was a rust hole in here, and then they just covered it up with a little bit of fiberglass and Bondo. So I guess I'll cut and paste this bit. Hey, that's not too tough to do. I'll get that done. Yeah, there you are. I took my scaler thing, which is this thing here, and here it's kind of noisy, but get rid of all that old tar. So I went around the whole thing and got rid of most of it, and I found another spot in there that needs to be welded up. But otherwise, looks pretty good. I don't think there's any big problems here, just that little bit up there, a little bit down there. That part right there is okay. So we'll carry on. Yeah, so I always cut out more than I thought I'd cut out. So this part here, which goes on, kind of just hangs on there, like that. It was kind of shaky and weak, so I figured, well, I might as well, while I'm in here, I'll just replace it. And it had spot welds here. 1, 2, 3, 4 spot welds. So I'll just clean that up and make that right. And then over here, I've got that cut out big enough now that I can sort of work on it. A little bit more cutting to do right here. I need a smaller tool to cut it with, so I'll figure that out. Yeah, there I cut out more even. So I've got to first off put a piece that goes from right down in there and around. Let's see if I can turn this camera around without turning it off. Yeah, so from right down there and around that corner, and it comes up to here pretty well. And it's just like a 1/2 inch wide, and that's where it looks like it's a little bit heavier gauge, so I'll use 18 or 16 there for that bit. And that is part of this tower for the shock absorber, and then the rest of this body shell here, which is the inner fender, sort of rests on that. But then you see down here, the camera's kind of sideways and backwards here, but if you see down here, right where I'm pointing, see how that little bit of a bend and then a lift. So I got to get that into the piece of metal somehow to make it all look the same. I'll figure that out either with the machine there, or else sometimes you can do it just sitting it in the vise and a cold chisel. But I think that machine would make it the best. And that's a bead making machine. Anyhow, there you go. Yeah, there, excuse me, there you go. That's all one piece welded in there now for that. Now I just have to fill in this little bit. I was going to make one whole piece, but I couldn't get all the metal to bend right, so I just made that one piece in there. Now I'll make another piece in here, and then that last piece fills up here. Maybe I'll make that all as one. We'll just see how it goes here. Yeah, it's good. Try that again. It's a good thing I'm not recording my hours in this stuff, because this stuff is just little tiny thing like that take hours and hours to get done, and it's not even that great, but it'll be okay. Yeah, here we go. Now I've got a piece of metal in there in the vise, and I'll show you how to make that little crease. Now this is something I learned from Fitzy's fabrication. So you put the metal in where you want the crease to be. I've got a mark on that. Then tighten it down good. And then use a fairly good blunt chisel. And just, I kind of get down like that and go like that. So the first round is a pretty good whack, and the second round is just sort of to make it happen. So there now, can you see that? That's that little crease I need in there to make the body line look right. Hopefully I got that going the right way. I guess we'll find out soon. Anyhow, there you go. Yeah, so here's where it goes. Give me a second to get set up here. So here we are. That's the piece. You can see that little bit of a crease that I made in there. And that, you see that bit of a crease right along here. That's what it's got to line up with. So that just sits right in there like that. And then the crease will go along as soon as I cut it to the right length. So I've got to sort of work out where I have to cut a bit here to make it right. And then I'll cut off the top later. Anyhow, there you go. I'll put that in. I'll see if I can get that measured up right and put it in there, and that'll be good. There it is. Yeah, there you go. It's in there. I haven't done any grinding on it yet. I'll put a little fill piece in there, and I'll put a little. I don't want to do anything there because I got to get that lip over the top of it. Then clean this up, build the lip, and that's for tomorrow because it's supper time. Time to quit for the day. There, that was that was a day, right? I can see a couple of pinholes in here that I got to fix up, but we'll get to them tomorrow. Yeah, there I was talking away to nothing. I do that often. So this is the piece that I'll show you. On the car, here I am, back at it. A new day. So this piece here sort of hangs right on, like here and there. So now I have to make that piece. And so I'll cut out a piece of steel, 17 inches long, give or take a bit. This piece of steel I'm cutting will be about 18 inches long. I marked it out. It's this 3-inch wide chunk here. So I'll cut this piece off here. Oops, cut this piece off that's out here. And I'll have that, use it for later. There'll be lots of uses for a nice square piece of steel. And then this piece here is what I'll use. I'll put it in the bending machine and get it bent up to the right way, and so hopefully it'll fit in there. Then I'll cut it in to fit. We'll just see how it goes here. I'll show you when I get this chunk cut out there. Maybe you'd like to see me cut it, so I'll set up a camera and just see if I can get that to work. Sometimes I have trouble getting the camera in the right spot. Yeah, there I've got this thing here holds the telephone. It's a little thing you can wrap those legs around stuff. But I've also got this it was sitting in the house. Now, I had another one around, but I think I gave it to somebody for forever. So that would be this part here, this little head part here. I'll take it off and put it on there, and then see if I can get the camera on there. Yeah, there we go. So now the telephone that I'm using as a camera here, it'll fit right in here, and then I can set up the shot doing that. This thing here goes, like you turn that wheel down here, and it goes up and down, and you can point it any way you want. So maybe it'll make a decent shot, because I tried doing some remote stuff last week, and the camera angles were terrible. So try this and make it better, eh? There, it's on. We'll just see what happens here now. Like I'll put this somewhere safe. And then when I go and cut this stuff, I mark it. And then I hold it fairly tight in this breaker thing. And then I just there you go, piece number one out of the way. Then I go and I'll clean up these edges afterwards on the thing over there. What do you call that thing? That thing would be called, I wonder what it's called. It's called grinding machine. Anyhow, so here now I'll cut this. This is a 3-inch piece, and I want these to be reasonably straight along the edges. There you go. So that's my 3-inch wide piece. Now I'll go and clean up the edges of that thing on my grinder, and then I'll come back and do some bending on here. So I'll be back in a minute or two. Yeah, so here now I've got my 3-inch piece out, and then this is the model where it goes from. So I'll give it like a little bit of room for this extra lip. See that little extra lip there? I'll give it a little bit of room for that. And that'll be there and kind of there. So those two spots are where it's going to be. And then there's lots of room after that for this other lip to go on that side, so I don't worry about that for a while. So about there, and about the same spot, about there. So that's my bend point, is here and here. I got to get this piece of metal out of the breaker and everything out of my way, which is always getting in my way and stuff. I get more stuff in my way. And put my gloves back on because I'll be cutting my hand for sure if I don't put my gloves on. That's what I do regularly. So this piece here is just a piece that I've been holding in the breaker there. Makes it easy to cut. This piece here is what I want to have bend in it, 90 degrees at that point. Excuse me. There you go. That point and that point. Now I'll just check the camera angle and make sure it's right. Yeah, that's pretty close. Well, a little bit better there. There you go. So now, this thing you just grab the handles and move that out of the way. Bend it up, set law. So there's the bent piece of metal. Now it's got to have a little lip. Where is the other one? That's the wrong piece. So at this side here, it's got to have this little lip going up. So I'll put that in right now too. So that's what it's supposed to be. That lip is a bit high, but I'll take a grinder and grind that down. And then I have to have another lip on here going, where is it? So this lip on this side has to bend in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that cut to about the right height, and then I'll bend it over on the vise. Likely I'll bend it over on the vise and then cut it. But that's the piece I need right there, and I'll show you how I'm going to get it on there. Yeah, now there, I've got that placed in here. It had to go, that lip's a bit higher now than it used to be, but I had to go back to the drawing board on that. So I went and flattened it out on the anvil, and then I rebent it in the right spot. Just had to move it in 1/8 of an inch so to fit this thing better. This end here is fit pretty good to there. This end here, I'll have to just cut it right along here and then drop that piece in. So I'll do that. Hang on, I'll get the machine. Yeah, there we're back on recording. So this is kind of in the way, but I'm just going to cut it right along that edge right there. And then that new piece will just drop in there, I hope. Here we go. Nothing's ever as simple as you think it'll be. So that cut goes into here, and I'll just get that cut up to there somehow or other. One bit out. I don't know if this will come off of here or not. I happen to catch it right where there's a weld. No, there we go. Yeah, I did catch it right where there's a weld. Oh well. Now I'm going to straighten that out a little bit. If I can find the thing for straightening. Oh, what happened to my dolly? Oh, where did my dolly go? This here will do. Well, that just makes it clean enough to spot weld on there later. I hope. And that piece sort of drops right in there, just like that. That's pretty good. It might be, might have to take just a tiny bit off this corner right here, which I can do. Right on that weld again, of course. Eh? There we go. Now this is really a wood chisel, but it's good for some of this kind of stuff because it's got a nice sharp point on it. Now, there. That takes a little bends out of it. There, we're done. Now, it's a matter of getting this thing here to the right size now. So that piece there slides in there like that. That end slides in here pretty good. Yeah. So it's got a little bit of a, well, I don't know if that's that curved or if the whole thing's curved, but a little bit of a whoop to it. So I'm pretty sure I can get it on there. Anyway, now, the right height to the, I'll mark the height on here, where it's got to be kind of bent in. I don't know, you actually can't see this, but I just put a middle black mark right where I want to bend it. And the same at the other end. Right there. Then I'll mark that across there and I'll bend it across in the vise. You see that? See there's a mark right there and there's a mark right there. I'll bend that across in the vise and then I'll grind off the excess. So I'll show you as I go. Yeah, so there now I went and you can see that I bent that And to get that nice crisp angle, I did it I bent it partway in the vise, then I went over to the metal breaker and I bent it so I had a nice straight line on it. And then I came back to the vise. Like when you bend it on the breaker, you get that little bit of a, you see how that's a little bit of a curve there? And I wanted a more 90-degree angle on that one right there. Whoops, that one right there. So I took it to the vise and just gave it a nice gentle pound on the vise there. There's a couple of ways you can do it. One way is open the vise wide enough and put it in there. Maybe I'll just show you. Here, wait a minute. I'll bring this stuff all over there. Yeah, so here I am at the vise, tripping over stuff, knocking the camera around. That's all right. So the way I did it for starters was I just stuck it in here. I clamp down the vise and then I take this dolly here, pound all the way along. Another way to do it is to open the vise wide enough here, like that. Put it in there, pretty close to the angle you want it. Go along like this all the way, and that gets your angle down nice and flat again, right? But you got to be careful not to put too much pressure on it because it'll rip in on you. It's just the right amount of pressure on it to get it to work right. There, so anyhow, that gets you that angle nice and tight. And then you can tighten up these other angles too if you want on here, just by. Vices are a great thing for doing stuff like that. That way not, this way yes. That tightens up that angle a bit for you. Anyhow, that's how I did it. So that looks pretty good. Now I got to cut this off here, just 1/8 of an inch in, and then I'll cut this off. This side here doesn't matter because it's going to be hidden underneath, but I'll cut it off a little bit and make it look better. I'll show you that after a bit. There you go. I put a line along here. And I just ran the marker across that. I held the marker. I'll show you. What the hell, eh? You got time, don't you? Well, who knows how much time this all takes. I just ran the marker, held it on the straight edge there, and just ran it right across there. And that gets that mark on there. So I'll cut it on the bottom of that black line, I hope. And I think I want to start at the other end. Start down here. Sometimes I'm not the best at cutting this stuff, but I'll clean it up on the grinder later. This bolt here touches on that and knocks you off your line. There, that's cut off. Now I'll run up the grinder and clean it off on the grinder over there. Yeah, here we are. That grinder's about 100 years old, but it's a good old grinder. Debbie's father gave it to me years ago. There you go. How's that look? Not bad. I think that'll pass for what I want. Now I have to just cut this off about here somewhere. And I'll do that. I'll come back. I'll show you when I get it done. Yeah, there we go now. That light's blinding you right in the eye there, eh? So I'll just change that angle a bit. Just looking down instead of looking at you. How's that? That better? Yeah. So, what have I done? I worked on the vise and I got this angle to be very, very 90-ish degrees. And then I drilled these holes along this side of it here so that when I get here I can do the spot weld on there. So what I'm going to do first, I'll just put a tack weld where I want it right here. So this lip here comes out right. And then I'll squeeze that into the wall there and tack weld it there. Or spot weld it through that hole. But I'll start at this end and then I'll get this end lined up, then I'll get this end lined up, and then I'll see if I can get the rest of it to line up. Which is sometimes a trick. Sometimes not as easy as you would think it would be. Anyhow, here we go. Where's my welder? Right over here. So this thing here has got to line up just right there. And of course it burns all out. That'll hold it for now. Now I'll get this end in. Take some grinding to get that in there, right? But I'll worry about that later. So this end here has got to be held. Can you see that down here? Or do I have to turn the camera? Suppose I could turn it down that way. There we go. So this end here, I'll just get this to weld on here, I hope. Without it burning through too badly. Yeah, that little dab will do it. Now, it's a matter of just putting this onto here. That holds that up tight on there, and I'll just put a little bit of a weld in that. Nothing's as easy as it looks. I'll put a little weld on this one. And on down the line I go. Now I'll get this other end lined up right, but it's not quite right yet. Sometimes these work really well for doing this, sometimes they don't work really damn. That'll work for today. I'll put a bit of weld on there and then I'll get the back wall on. So it might be a little bit of cutting right there. I'll get the tool out and cut it. Hang on, I'll be right back. Yeah, if the guy were prepared, we wouldn't have to wait in between. I can cut out those little bits of waiting. Glasses. Doesn't that sound awful? That's because we're just coming up against it. That'll work. I'll be able to get that down in there now. There, and I'll put a little bit of weld there. Without blowing through too badly. I'll see if I can get this back piece to line up. Right about there. There. Pretty close. I'll fill that up. I'll fix it up after. And the rest of these spot welds need to be done. Oh, two-handed. This is a big guy. Big guy's got more pulling power. I think I have to clean the tip out. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. I just have those little pliers here that kind of cleans the tip out a bit. Sometimes it gets welded up around, like it gets itself welded together, and then it doesn't sound like bacon cooking. That'll get better now. And the next one. That sounds better. So when I weld these, that one there blew through, but when I weld these, I like to get the center of the hole first so that it's catching the back piece, and then I'll weld it around to the edge. But I just do a little bit of a spot weld in there, a little bit of a touchable weld to get it started, and then I'll come back later and weld all of them together properly. Sometimes they just don't go together right. I got to do this a few times there. I got that up against it now. But sometimes I'll weld the pliers to the hole too. Like that time. One more spot to go, and I can go filling in holes, and hopefully it fits all right for everything we need. I put the pliers on right over the hole to bring it in together, and then I put it on beside the hole so I can weld it. Here we go. So is the camera still running? Have you had enough of that? 13 minutes. Ha, that's a long span. I'll speed it up so that you don't have to watch it all. Now the next piece is this piece here, and it goes right in along here. But I'll go ahead and finish welding this up over here, and then I'll clean it up, and we'll put this piece in there. That's all. You don't need to be watching the rest of that. It gets boring. Yeah, now there, that looks not too bad now. It was pretty ugly welding to start with, but I think I forgot to spot weld that one there. Perhaps I'll get on to that before I do anything else. But these joints down here look like they'll be good, and that was my Kinko hole, and then the other Kinko hole was up here, so they're still there, so I'll be able to put that fender back where I thought it should go to meet up with down here. So the next thing is to make that little piece up there, put that in, and then I think I'm ready to start fitting the fender. I have to clean up this stuff down here because it's got to weld onto the fender. Anyhow, we'll get after that. Yeah, there we go. That's all in there now. So now I think I can clean that up a little bit down there. Where is it? This bit of where the car joins onto each other. I've got that cleaned and ready to go. And then I can start mounting that fender and see how that works out. Yeah, here we go. I'm fitting the, what do you call this? The fender to it. So I've got this strap wrapped around, and then I've got these clamps holding it onto the inner fender. I've got three of these bolts in here that are underneath and upside down. And then this bit here seems to come around to be all right there. So I think I'm okay. So the last thing I did was I measured this distance right here. Where is it? See that at the end of the run of the fender there, I measure that distance to be, like it says, what's that say, 3 and a bit. 3 and a bit on that thing. So I'll just go to the other side and see if it's close to the same height. And if it's close to the same height, I'm going to be a happy guy. So here's the end of the fender thing again right there. And that's pretty near exactly the same height. So I guess that means that when I close the hood, the body line will line up as well as it lined up before anyhow, I hope. We'll see. Great little measuring tool, this thing. It's another thing from John a long time ago. It's not digital or anything like that, but it sure is very precise. Anyhow, I'll put it back in a little bag where it goes in that drawer that's where it lives. And I'll put a couple of spot welds in here, one here and one here, and then I'll put a couple at the other end here, one here, then I'll pull those kinkos. Then I'll go down and put a couple of spot welds just along the edge of this thing. Then I'll release everything and hopefully I don't have to drill them all out again. We'll see how it goes. There, now I put this strap around it to pull the fender in without trying to pull it in without putting a dent in it. I think I've achieved that. Hopefully I didn't put a dent on the other side. I'll take a look over here. I think we're all right. So I'm going to let that strap go now, and then I've got a couple of, like I welded it right there. Where are you? Right there. I welded it up here right there. I checked that height like I showed you. Now I'm going to take these kinkos out of here and see if I can get it like it's got to press down a little bit farther in the center here. It's got to be pushed in a bit. I'll see what I can do about that. And then get that welded on, and then that'll be good. Yeah, there it is. Back on again. This body line looks good. And got to do some grinding in there, but mostly it's pretty good. And it feels right. So, I mean, if it feels right, it must be right, eh? Seems to fit all the spots where it's supposed to fit. Over here I have a little bit of work to do right down in this bottom corner because I did some welding in there. Can you see that? Not very well. So there's a bit of a gap here, so I got to just cut a little bit of that metal out of there so it'll go into that corner right. I'll do that. Yeah, now there, that's fender back on, welded up. So I did it down here, and then I spot welded along here. No, can you see that? Perhaps you can see it now. Spot welded along there where the body joins on, and it's solid. Now I still have to tighten those bolts up in here. I'll have to remember that. I have one more to put in. Now along here, there was the that bit in here. There were some holes in there, so I took that and cut a little piece out and put a new piece in. This is all finished up in here. Let me see, I'll get a light. Get me the light. There's a light. So now I don't have any fingers, but you can see that. See if I can find a spot with the light. There. You can see in here that thing there, I finished it down to the edge there, and I put this little piece of edging in so it's good and solid there now. This thing here is welded on the other side. You can't see it from here. And now turn right around. Yeah, right in your eyes, eh? There. Now this stuff, that's all the inner fender. So I just have to do that little bit here, and I've welded up How can I get that? Welded up and around here. Can you see any of that? I don't know if you can see. But I spot welded along that lip there. Must be still recording. Maybe you saw it. Anyhow, now the next thing is maybe that bit in there. The sooner that I get the subframe on, the sooner I can take that stuff down from above there. But I'll show you what's happening up above too. Because they also coming down. Don't want to hit anything. I also did the finished welding this fender on up top here. There you can see I haven't cleaned them up yet, but they're welded. Weld, 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 weld. Well is welded, eh? So I have to just finish that up, and I'll just put some sort of plastic sealer in there to keep the water from going in. And it's welded right to here. And I also welded it kind of ugly right in there. There, and there. So that fender is likely more solid than the other fender now. Anyhow, I'm happy with that fender. There'll be a little bit of body work along here. You can see a couple of little dents in here. And a couple of little dents right. There was a hole here that I fixed. But I'll fix that up with a little bit of body putty later. But for the most part, this part here feels good. So once I get a sander on it, I'll be able to tell. You can, if it feels good to your fingers, it's usually all right. And it all feels good. I don't feel any dents or anything in there. So, there you go. That would be that bit done. There you go. Kind of a short day today. Spent most of the day going into town to pick up one of these. I needed a new tank of gas. So the gas that I use usually comes in a smaller tank, but I got a bigger tank this time because I've been going in too often. I had to go twice though because I left my wallet at home. Got right to the door and there I was with no wallet. So anyhow, got the tank, got a bunch of gas for all the other stuff around here. Stuck that in the other shop. And there, I'll be back at it tomorrow, I think, or I hope anyhow. Yeah, here I am, new day. So I went and that's kind of the, can you see that? That's kind of the curve that I need for take two on today. So I need to get, I got it lined up to about there on here, and I just have traced that curve that you see right here onto this piece of metal, and then it'll go over on this side. Where am I? Which side's the right one? This one. It'll go over on this side of the car, kind of in there, like that. So I'll cut that out, and then I'll put the inner lip in it like I did before, and then carry on, and that'll create, whoops, that was me, did you hear that? That'll create this arch coming down here on the inside and the outside, but I'll create the inside one first. Yeah, here now I put the little piece, cut the little piece out, and I put it up against the curve that I wanted, and then I've welded it on here, and this will give me the, whoops, don't break it right away. That'll give me the kind of shape I want there. So now I have to cut out along that line there and cut along the other line, because I welded it on. I thought, I always get stuff backwards, but this is the thought I saw outside that I thought would be the lip where my thumb is there. But the lip is on the other side. So I'll just cut that other piece out. I'll use it on the, I'll be able to use that piece later on another chunk. Anyhow, time to start cutting. Yeah, there you go. That's mostly cut out. I'll just get it off of there now. And then that should fit on where I want it to be. I think it goes right in. Got my wrong hands out here. Need to get the hands right. So it'll go right in here. Hammer didn't quit, but it was doing weird stuff. So right in here, kind of like this on the inside. There we are. That's still recording? Yeah. So right about something like that idea. Yeah, there it'll go somewhere around here. Something like that. We hope. See if I can get that fit on there, and that'll be the inner fender, and then I'll build the outer fender. I'll build the rest of the inner fender to it, like this little bit in here, and then see if I can make it all come together somehow or other. Yeah, there we go. That's that inner fender piece done. So I welded it on the inside here pretty good. And then I ran a bead along the outside. And then I grinded it off on the outside so it's smooth. So I'll see how it fits on here, or if indeed it does fit on here. I kind of want it to go right here, but it's got to be, there's got to be a little bit of a correction here to this, the other one. Wait a sec till I get up here. There goes my little, there, I was pointing the wrong way, sorry. A little bit of a correction here so that it goes along the right angle to, what am I trying to say? This part, the outer fender and the inner fender got a little bit far apart there, so I'll just put a correction in here and see if I can fix that up. Anyway, I'll get it welded on and see how things come together. Got to find my little stylus thing. There it is on the ground. Anyway, well, I'll carry on. Yeah, there you go. Like that. That last piece is in there. You really didn't want to watch me doing that because it was a bit of a hack job to get that in there. Anyhow, looks like it's all pretty good now. So there's the inner fender done. Now I can work on building this outer fender down to here. Yeah, let me see the other side. I forget how things work here. I think that outer fender just goes down. Yeah, so like here's what I've got built over there already is this thing. The outer fender just goes down along beside it, and there's a little air gap in there that lets air through. On the original, I think that was folded back over, but on this version of the car, it's not going to be folded back over because I didn't do it on that side, so I'll keep them both the same. Make them both wrong, right? Instead of having two wrongs make a right. Is that right? Who knows? Yeah, now I gotta start at the same kind of place and make this outside piece around to here. Get that attached to that, and then I'll fill in this part. This is the bit that has that bit of body molding on it that I didn't cut that out. So I'll just get this down to here and then straight on down to there. And then that attaches to the bottom there somehow or other. Well, we'll figure that out, I guess. Yeah, now, so how do I make this piece here again, eh? Whoops, pointing the right place here. This piece that goes along here, which is kind of a flat piece and should be at 90-degree angle or whatever, or, you know, along the body line of the car. So I've already made this piece here, which goes on the inside of this. There goes. There goes everything. Eh? Everything goes. Okay, try this again. Where was I pointing? Down to the ground again, as usual. You get a lot of shots of the ground with this videoing, eh? So this piece here I've made, and it sort of fits along the inside edge of that. So now I've taken a piece that's 3 inches wide and 13 inches long, and then I just trace along the inside of it here with a with a marker pen. And I'll cut that off of there, and then I'll get it set on so that it, whoops, where am I? I'll cut that off of there. Where am I? I'll cut this circle off of here, and then I'll make the width right. Then I'll put this behind here and sort of clamp it together in place and get the angles right on it. Anyhow, that's how you get started on it. Now I need to find my little stylus thing so I can turn the camera off. It's full of everything there. Yeah, here we go. I think I've shown you this in another episode, but so I went with the dividers. I got the measurement of that width there, which is pretty well, checked it in about 3 places around here, and it's pretty well the same. So that's how wide it's got to be. Then I just came back with the dividers and my marker pen, and then I went dab, 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 dab. You get the idea. Now I'll just fill it in with freehand in there. I'll show you later. There, now that's the lines to cut, so I'll just cut along those lines. And then, you know, don't worry about it being freehand, because I'll come back later and make it even with, do it on the grinder over there, and just, this makes it even. It doesn't have to be exact, but it gets to be pretty damn close. Yeah, there now. So what I did is I clamped this outer piece on with just 2 pieces underneath there for spacers, bring it out the same width, approximately. Then I went and I clamped the bottom on with a spacer underneath there also. Now, when I was putting it on, the angle here is kind of like there's an angle to it on there to make this come out straight. So what I've done is I've attached it with a weld here and then worked it on the way down so that it came to the right angle, so I can then get that spot welded onto this back piece without any trouble. Well, without much trouble. So now I'll take it over to the bench and I'll weld it all on the inside. There'll be room behind there to leave weld, and then clean it all up and I'll show it to you. Yeah, there you go. Some of these pieces come out pretty nice. Like, that's a very complex curve and angles everywhere on it, and it just, on the outside there, it looks like it's near a factory piece. But that one there I can be proud of, because I think it worked out pretty good. I see a couple of, whoops, there I see a couple of pinholes in it, so I should fix them before I go any further. And that'll be good. Anyhow, that's all for that for now. Yeah, there we go. I'm starting to weld on pieces again. So I cut out a piece that was 3 inches by 10 inches, and I cut that little bit of a curve into it. Now in here it's got a little bit of a shallow, you see how the, what do you call that, the body line goes in like that, and then as it gets down to this line here, then it becomes very shallow, the body line, and then from here it's just a flat body line across there. So that's the first chunk in, then I'll build a piece that fills in that whole thing in down here. I hope. That's a little bit more difficult, but I think I can get it done. Yeah, you got to be very patient when you're welding on this stuff, because otherwise it'll all get warped on you. So you have to put a bunch of dabs in, and then just wait until it cools down enough to touch your hand on it, and hopefully it'll be all right. But then you have to be careful when you're grinding on it too, because the grind will just get it hot and make it warp too, also. There, now that's all welded up around here. Pretty hot still. So I'll just leave it be, and then tomorrow I'll grind it off. So that's about it for the day today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. It'll be another day. There you go. Yeah, so here I am out in the rain. And I have to go out here, and not much happening on the car today, because I gotta go out here and resurrect this car hauler trailer. I bought another thing. I'll show it to you when I get it loaded on here. That'll be Sunday or Monday, so you have to wait till next week. Oh boy, the suspense is going to kill everybody, I'm sure. But I got all this junk loaded on this poor old trailer that's, you know, been sitting here for a couple of years. So I'll hook it on and I'll make sure the lights work, and then I'll clean the stuff off of it. Then I'll carry on and we'll get it hooked up. I'm going to borrow a truck to go with to hook this onto. Yeah, so how come it decides it has to be a big rainstorm as soon as I want to do something? So I'll take off that, there's a front thing there, right there where the battery goes for the dynamite brake business, and I'll get a new battery for that, and I'll get a little bit of a hand winch so I'm not stuck out there with nothing to get it on with, and then hopefully it'll stop raining by the time I get back again. And if it's still raining, I'll just come in here for a while, because it's Sunday morning I want to leave, so maybe tomorrow will be better, but I don't think so.